Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Lotusthesage. I'm Lotus. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me. Before I forget at the end, if you find any of this reading helpful, please like and subscribe. It would be helpful for me. Anyway, let's get into the good stuff. We have another pick a card reading, or pick a stack technically, because it's going to be pretty thorough, just so you know. And we're going to go into a spread called the Feng Shui spread, and it's about an all-encompassing spread for your life. So if you're looking to find out what the energies are coming up for you or what to expect in the next few months, I would say, I'm giving this a 3-month span, but the time is relative, right? So this could be happening already, could be in the process, or take a little bit longer. You use your discretion with that. We have 3 piles. Our first stack, I should say, is the candlelight. The second we have is the rose. The rose blossom. And the third we have is the binoculars. So, pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3 for your Feng Shui spread. I will see you at your piles, my beautiful collective. Welcome, my stack 1, my candlelight. We'll put you over here with the candlelight. Okay, so there's a lot of cards. So we're starting off with the I Ching cards first. These are your clarifiers. So I'm going to lay out the cards first. Just get this out. Okay, my collective of pile 1. Sorry about the messy spread. Either way, the information's more important. As I get comfortable over here. Okay. For our first position here, we have fame, future, and career. So, returning, close the end of the cycle. Fame, future, and career, returning. I'm feeling a sense of something that you may have left or was sort of taken away from you in a sense because of circumstance or whatever the case is, like a loss of a job or having to leave a certain way of gaining employment. There was something like that. That I feel like there was a sense of a loss of identity when that situation happened. And in this, I guess, hiatus or time, I guess, away from whatever this disconnect is for you, my viewer, you've come to peace with it in how the transition, and how this is transitioning. It's like a returning back to self to close the cycle of either the hurt or the resentment that was lingering from the situation, from the decision, from the choices, from people's actions. And I think you're putting, like I said, you're putting it to rest. You know, you've come to peace. Interesting. Fame, future, and career. So, and the returning is coming back to you. It's returning to the self, returning to that spark within of creating your own abundance now. And then it says, are you ready? I think you're freaking ready. My pile 1, you are ready. It's like, are you ready now? Because this is the point. It's like closing this cycle for you to step into this new. I'm getting like this Wheel of Fortune type of energy from the tarot cards. So I want you to take peace in this, or take some solace in this, that you are at the end of this cycle, or you literally have come to peace with whatever it is that may have been making you feel underappreciated. So Spirit's saying, are you ready for this new cycle to begin? Oh, nice. Unexpected income. That's beautiful. Like a small gesture, a gift, again, a sense of appreciation, being recognized. It's I'm feeling like this gift is more from spirit, is what I'm getting. Like, are you ready for this new opportunity, this new tangible opportunity to begin for you? Have you let go of whatever it is that was keeping you feeling like, let's say, that you were done wrong? Like, I'm not even gonna try to sugarcoat it. That's what it feels like. It feels like you feel that you, my viewer, feel like you were done wrong in a sense. And that space, the hiatus in between, like we talked about, has created now this pocket of understanding, and this pocket of meaning the understanding of knowing why it may have had to happen, period. Maybe not in the way you wanted, but why it had to happen, period. Spirit is saying, are you ready for this beautiful, unexpected flux of opportunity to come into your life? Let's go. All right. Next position is relationships, marriage, or partnerships. We have limitations, evolve systems of regulation. Interesting. So I'm getting that multiple situations, of course, but limitations could be about not finding the right partner. It could be about limitations within your marriage, partnership, connection, situationship. It could be limitations within your environment, and it also can be limitations within your mind, or the person's mind, or the people involved's mind, about how they believe about what they believe and what they think is proper or not proper, or taboo, in other words. Is trying to grow out of also your limiting beliefs when it comes to yourself, when it comes to what you have to offer and the appreciation of your own beautiful sovereign self. It's asking you to step out of this way of being, or this energy, or I really do feel like it has more to do with the self. It can have, obviously, like all the other things that I had mentioned prior when it comes to dynamics and your connections, but this feels like if this has to do with the relationship with self, the marriage with self, even in the partnership within self, if we take out any other, what are those limitations within you? How have you been negatively talking to yourself? I'm not pretty enough. I need to lose more weight. I'm not smart enough, or this person's prettier. Are you judging yourself? Are you thinking that it's just appreciating where you are, they want you to eliminate those limitations, evolving your systems of regulation, how you regulate your thoughts. And this is exactly right. How are you tending to the emerging story of your life? That's the point. It's those evolving the thought systems in your mind, and what has kept you in this belief system of thinking that you may not have something that somebody wants, or that there's something wrong with you in a sense. Yeah, so you let those limitations sit, however that sits in your life. Then we have the sexual tarot to see what energies are available to you. We have Three of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. Lovely. How are you tending to the emerging story of your life? This is all action-based, practical new beginnings, like we talked about from that first position. But the Three of Wands is taking action, and in this particular deck, it's like the act of kissing in this deck, right? But it's action-based. Same thing with that Knight of Wands. It's embracing. There's action. There's there is emotional intention behind the actions. Period. And there's about the movement of, right? So if we're moving away from the limiting thoughts, who do you want to be in an embrace with? Who would you like to exchange a kiss with? Who is this tangible new beginning with? In the sense of, what is this tangible new beginning? You know, in whatever way this dynamic plays out in your romance, in your relationships, marriage or friendships, partnerships. And this is all to do with self and with a partner if you have one, or if you're looking or seeking for one. What does that look like to you? What does that tangible beginning look like? How are you tending to the emerging story of your life when it comes to this area? Interesting. Lovely. So going into your creativity and or children. Maiden, difficulty in light of future. I have two stories for this one too, or two scenarios I should say. The maiden is, I'm feeling like a new beginning, like there's something that you've recently started or something that you're wanting to start, something that is gonna be starting for you. It doesn't matter. There is this, obviously, the excitement and the tenacity of doing things like first, you know, that teenage first. That's what I feel like that maiden card is. It's like the blossoming of all your beginnings, of your good and bad moments, of memories, of interactions, etc. But difficulty in light of future, right? So there is naturally going to be obstacles when things are your first. Not everything runs like our fantastical brain loves to think of how the scenarios will work out. For example, if we're talking about losing virginity, 99% of the people that I personally know, regardless of whatever fairy tale fantasy beginning they wanted to have their first time with, did not happen, me included. So that's the point. It's like, yes, we want all of these experiences, but at the same time, how that happens is not always freaking roses. So that's what I'm getting from this energy when it comes to creativity specifically. So it's like, what is it that you're wanting to start? Don't allow yourself to get pulled back or swayed in a way that makes you think that you can't do something because you come up against obstacles or hiccups or barriers or delays for that matter. The second scenario I'm getting is if you do have children, there can be something with your children there can be something involving your children that they are going through that they're probably not communicating with you. So I would suggest, if that's the case, if you have a great communications with your children, then, and you feel free to do this, I still have a feeling that this is one of those things that, I don't know. I just don't feel that this is one of those things that every kid would like to talk to their parent first. Doesn't mean that they won't talk to them, but I don't know if you're going to be the first person that they'd want to talk to, about the situation. That's the scenario I'm getting. So my suggestion would be for you is to be a little bit more observant during these times about the fluctuations in moods, not necessarily in temperament, but in moods. It's about a body language, and the quiet subtleties is what I'd ask you to pay more attention to. Great. Then it says, Monday, let's see. Interesting. So in either of the scenarios that I gave, maybe there will be some clarity when it comes to your creativity on Monday or how you like to pursue this project. Monday, there could be some information brought to you, like I said, if you have children and this has to do with your kids. Either way, let's see, maybe letting this weekend pass and allowing things to unfold as they should, just being the observer. And then, oh, lovely. Sweetness. Yeah, there's back to this innocence and the sweetness of the maiden, of the sweetness of those new opportunities and new experiences. So allow that sweetness to envelop the energy of the maiden, to remind yourself of when there are difficulties, when things do come up, how can we add a little bit of our own sweetness and see everything through the eyes of love. So helpful people, friends, associates, helpful people, friends, associates, colleagues, travel. What do we got? Conflict. Plan the beginning carefully. Interesting. That ain't so helpful, people. Friends, agents, colleagues, travel. So, as plain as it says, it's about being meticulous and detail-oriented. trying to avoid the conflict by being prepared for whatever possibility, coming right back to that maiden energy, trying to see everything through the eyes of love. It feels like there's not it seems that the people, if these people, agents, colleagues, friends, associates, it feels that if they are supposed to be helpful in any way, it doesn't seem that way. So I feel like there is going to be, or there is already, a differing of opinions. And I don't feel like people are coming together on the same, trying to find a consensus, like there's, and I feel that you sort of have to be the arbitrator. Like you have to be the person for yourself, like to keep your stuff organized, because it feels like there's a lot of chaos around you and you feel like this, like steady, like in the eye of the storm, just steady and in between all of this thing. That's what I'm getting right now, especially with how serene this beautiful character looks. Yeah, being really careful with your steps in the beginning, either with friendships, colleagues, agents, associates, etc. If these are new connections and new friendships, like we talked about, this wheel moving, right? These new opportunities, there could be just this, that ridiculous, trivial jealousy that happens amongst groups of people when it really stems from insecurities, right? No judgments, but that's what happens. It's ridiculous. And not to say that I haven't been at fault of my own. It's just the point of that is what it is. Like that's what happens. And sometimes people are aware of it and some people are not. And we are put in these scenarios to see how we are able to handle what we have already learned, in other words. So plan that beginning carefully to avoid majority of this conflict, or at least that it doesn't penetrate your world. Hilarious. Not today. That's what I heard. Not today, bitches. You ain't fucking with me today. Or that not today, Satan. Like whatever it is, however you feel that energy, that's what I feel like this is. That's you. You're like, no. Like I said, steady in that. I'm like, I ain't dealing with all this conflict. I don't need to be doing any of this. Not today. I'm out. Or like, I'm just going to step away. You guys handle this. I'm going to walk away and just enjoy my day. Like that's the feeling when it comes to these friends, colleagues. It's like, if these not the people for me, or if this is not the right energy, I know when to step away, because I have planned in myself, anchored in myself, returning to myself, emerging to my own story, finding the joy and looking at things through eyes of love, that I'm going to love myself just the same. And if I find anything that is making me uncomfortable in a sense where I do not need to deal with it now, I'm going to walk away. Love that. Yeah. And what does that produce? Sudden wealth. And I was saying this is a big opportunity of some kind, and that's possibly by knowing and discerning who to actually connect with and combine energies with or collaborate with. It's maybe about that. It's like who you're choosing to have a part of your close circle. And there are people or things that are going to have to leave or walk away because they don't vibrate on your frequency. And I think because of that, this sudden influx of actual opportunity, wealth, people, creative new ventures, like all of it starts to come in. It's a matter of this. It's like, are you ready to return to yourself? Because of this initiation, all of this is in the trajectory of movement. And that's why I'm getting that tornado analogy. It's like, I'm steady now, that steady candle burning light, that you chose in this world, our world of chaos right now. And I am now solid in my footing on this planet. That even if solid means like you don't necessarily have everything figured out, it's just that I know who I am now. I know who I can trust now. I know what to look out for. I know who's been shady and who hasn't been, who's been loyal to me. I'm no longer bending now for people. That's the energy that I'm getting. It's like I can love you no matter what, but there is no more swaying me in a sense where I'm no longer sturdy. That's lovely. Okay, so we're going into self, identity, and image. Insight, moderate rigid ideas. I think this is coming back to the same thing that we were talking about over here, but and an extra layer. So the insight is, like we talked about, the insight into yourself, what has been rigid in your own personal beliefs of how you see yourself and of what you think you're worthy of, in a sense, this limitation, right? But also moderate rigid ideas, maybe when it comes to different perspectives, maybe this is where this plan the beginning carefully and this conflict is. Maybe you might be too rigid in those ideas. I don't really feel that per se, because I don't think Not Today and Sudden Wealth would come out if that was the case. It feels like moderating rigid ideas within the people around you. It's like I have gained this insight, so now I can sort of present my ideas or ideologies to these people or situation with more clarity on how their perspective may be limited, and allowing for more possibility, which includes more, technically. So that self-image and identity is about the clarity of who you are, and that's fucking awesome. Ask a friend. That's so funny. I was thinking, I just heard when I flipped over the card, that self-identity, ask a friend, man. Find another opinion is what I'm getting, and you're that friend is what I'm getting at. It's like you're the one that that people need to come to, that tend to come to for advice. Like I said, being that arbitrator. You are that person that gives that sound advice, that gives the sounding board, that gives another perspective, that plays the devil's advocate. And maybe that's why I got that Not Today Satan, playing that devil's advocate, being like, let's begin this properly. Let's not start on a place of, like I said, opposite spectrums that we can't ever work together and find towards a common goal. And ask a friend also is what I'm getting, is maybe there's a possibility for you to ask a friend let me pause there. The point I'm trying to get at, they just brought me to something that I had asked for a couple of New Year's ago. It was my type of New Year's resolution was, I asked 3 or 4 friends of mine to describe me in 5 words. That was it. And they're like, okay. And just literally words, not sentences, words. And it's interesting, the perspective of how people really see you as opposed to how you view yourself. And I think this is why they brought this up. That might be a really cool exercise for you to do or to try and find out. But either way, it was very enlightening and eye-opening for some. Some things you obviously know, that's how you're perceived, but there are certain things you're like, really? That's how you see me? All positive, in a good way, but just very interesting, very cool. So I think that's echoing to that for some reason. Beautiful. And Revel. Light attributes. Challenges authority to affect social change. Rejects spiritual systems that do not secure inner needs. That's right. That's exactly who you are. That's the where is it? Evolve systems of regulation, moderate rigid ideas. It's like you are the one that breaks free, the devil's advocate, like I said, that advocate, that advice giver, the guidance. You challenge the authority, you challenge the status quo to create social change, and you're rejecting those spiritual systems that do not serve the inner needs, which is being outside of yourself, which is why I kept bringing it back to the self for you guys. Shadow attributes. Rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. That might have been you in the past. That might have been what happened and what created this. That's a possibility. I don't feel that right now because this is the energies that you're stepping into, and you're stepping into this spirit. Again, are you ready to be this rebellious, sacred rebel? Beautiful. Love that. Okay, let's go into your family, community, and neighbors. Ooh. Censorship. Keep intelligence concealed. Damn. Talk about our fucking cancel culture right now. How fucking funny is that? Family, community, and neighbors. It is definitely telling me to keep your mouth quiet. Like I said around here, being the observer. That is going to be key for you in the next little bit. And it's like you're just gaining your wisdom. Like I said, gaining all of this intelligence and knowledge and expertise and otherworldly examples of information. And you are digesting and marinating. I think that's what this period is for you now. And the censorship, keep the intelligence concealed. It's like waiting for the right opportunity to lay those fucking gems down. It's like it's that person that like listens to somebody talk and they're so they're in with such conviction, and they're so positive that their point is like the freaking javel, you know? But then you come in being all, not necessarily like sweet, but just being like, okay, totally get that. That's absolutely valid. But then you're like, brap, 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 brap. And you're like, just like flatline them. That's the energy that I'm getting. It's like you're waiting and watching people sort of play out of their egos. And you have evolved that insight, that returning back to self, this evolution of self, the sweetness, like we talked about, looking at everything through the eyes of love. You've evolved, so there is no need for you to engage in that lower energy vibration and banter. You know, you can watch and observe and be like, this is not necessarily amusing, but this is entertaining. I used to be involved in this mess. Like I said, back to that tornado, you are fucking steady. Even though people might be coming at you, family disagreeing with your beliefs, your ideas, how you're choosing to live, who you want to love, how you want to love. Like, it doesn't matter. Ooh, I like that. That makes me happy. I fucking love you guys. Woo! Why doubt? Exactly. Why doubt? It's just a matter of, like I said, just trust you. Like, step back and watch and be like, wow, I can feel it. Like, I'm actually feeling it's like when you've healed something, really, like truly healed something, and you go back into that scenario that used to trigger you in a sense, and you have no response to it, you're like, you almost feel like, wait, should I be responding to this? Like, shouldn't I feel something right now? But it's so healed and so out of your system in the sense that you see the bigger picture, that there's no reaction now. It's just a matter of taking in the information. I fucking love it. Okay, family, community, and neighbors. So relationship. I call in the innate power of love to take over this union in every way. May it now fully belong to the divine. Let it unfold in the perfect way for each of us. I needn't fear letting go of control. My needs are always abundantly met. And that's beautiful. And that's this point here of the family, community and your neighbors, about censoring your beliefs, because there's no need for this doubting and this argument. And if things need to separate, like we talked about, and sort of distance for a while, that you will be filled up with what is needed, and it is what is needed. So why doubt anything that happens in this area, as long as you allow yourself almost to censor yourself? It's in a sense, it's not even censor, it's just sort of like be very careful. Yeah, it is censor. It's editing. I would say more editing. I'd say edit yourself as opposed to censor. Anyway, love that. Okay, going into... Ooh, sorry, this was, I apologize. This was your wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality. Wrong area, but everything I said still applies. But this section of the reading has to do with wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality. So they're asking you to keep what you've learned, like I said, under wraps. Don't doubt the information that you are gaining from the spirituality and your relationship to it, how that may change you, how that may, exactly, with your friends and family, how they may view you because of these beliefs now. All of it still applies. I obviously think that spirit did that for a reason. I wouldn't just randomly messed up your order. So please take all of that. That's beautiful that happened. I love that. So they wanted me to really talk about that censoring and the editing and the not doubting yourself and the unfoldment of these relationships, or the unraveling of relationships. It's about, this is a spiritual reasoning behind what may be happening when it comes to that dynamic in your life. This is about you gaining that wisdom again and like I said, just integrating it right now before you start to express it, before those flatliners or those mic drops happen. Okay, now into your family, community, and neighborhood. Obstacles, like we said, this is exactly why Spirit did this. Obstacles. Look within yourself. What did we just talk about? How funny is that? This is why Spirit does it. I don't play. I don't mess around. Is whatever they do, I just follow, and then hopefully I'll catch it. So this is the exact same thing we were talking about. The obstacles. Look within yourself. Trust. Why doubt? Relationship with your source, power, energies. Ready to begin this new cycle. Releasing what doesn't serve. Looking through the eyes of love. Boom chaka-lax. Oh my God. Come back to self. It's literally reiterating. This is what it is. Come back to self. Look within yourself. Forget all these obstacles about that tornado, that chaos around you. Keep your stuff quiet until you really fully integrate it, and only drop and speak when it's necessary for evolvement, for betterment of everybody involved. No ego playing. And then we have Vesta, Hearth. Hearth and home, speaking about that, hey? Vesta calls to you to be a hearth of fire, to share yourself for the benefit of all, but still have enough energy left to live healthfully and give again another day. Evaluate yourself in your life. Each human's task is to help reduce the total suffering on earth and increase the total joy. Your joy and suffering matters just as much, neither more nor less than anyone else's. Do not burn yourself up for another's cause, nor withhold your warmth, but share what you have to offer. So this is if they're talking about hearth and coming back to the self, both of these cards did. Go look within yourself, come back to the self, censor yourself. Why doubt this? Being your own fire, relating to spirit. It's all of that's about that difficulty, again, within this new belief system, within your new life, within your new cycle. There's certain things that are going to not resonate with you anymore, and vice versa. This is not a situation where you need to take sides. Come back to the center, to the flame, to your hearth and your core values. Come back to the self. Focus on the center flame instead of the personalities involved. Remember what matters. Vesta warns you to share yourself rather than sacrifice yourself. Your hard work at holding the situation together may be ignored or taken for granted unless you know your worth. Your gift, however, find the temple within, the place of quiet safety where you can tend the fire and carry the sacred temple with you always. This is exactly the same energy that we have been talking about here. This is very much connected. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to your wealth. Nice. Attraction. Be open and accept others. Your wealth. I'm hearing accepting help, accepting offers, being maybe a little bit more experimental, in some of the things that you're allowing yourself to venture in, trying new things, trying to find new firsts is what I'm getting. I'm also feeling opposites attract, but again, coming back to that self-worth, that's really what this is anchoring in for you, and that, how these new, like this maiden energy over here in that beginning is going to echo and aid to this wealth in your life, right? This wealth of people, of, like we said, opportunities, of financial stability, of period. It's just a matter of you vibrating in that frequency to receive. Nice. A few weeks from now. Beautiful. So something is definitely going to be coming in for you in a few weeks from now. Be open to what you hear. Listen for those signs and watch for those signs. Oh, lovely. Then we have Gibo, or Jibo. Partnerships. Again, attraction, being open to others. There's definitely, I'm more feeling that there's like a person coming in. This could be a romantic person for my people who are looking for that, for sure. This can also be a partner to help you with this creative venture or the things that you're seeking to share with the world. I'm also getting a sense of compatibility and finding your right people and the right tribe for you to help progress whatever it is that you're seeking. This could be a part of that unexpected income and that sudden wealth. This is all this attracting into because you are recognizing your worth. Yeah, it's definitely like this gift, this a gratitude, the sense of gratitude that will come in with this. It's like it's a reward for the devotion or for the hard work put in, for the effort put into self, for the effort put into this creative or work environment. It doesn't matter. They're asking you not to be afraid to make the first move, to act freely without asking for anything in return. This is actually a sense of inner strength. Jibo's going to ask you, again, being open to others. That's what Jibo asks you to do. It's to open up your heart to the ideals of brotherhood and cooperation. You know, brotherhood and sisterhood of cooperation. It doesn't matter. It's amazing. That's exactly what it feels. Just an influx of this beautiful, abundant energy, and it's in the next few weeks. That's fucking awesome, guys. You gotta let me know what that is. Okay, so for your last section is your health. Let's see. Nice. Encourage, exchange ideas with friends. Yep. And this is what we're doing. I feel like we're weeding out things so that we have a more stable foundation when it comes to your friend dynamic or your connections in general, family included. You know, and I feel like after this process of this whole wheel turning, this brings you into new dynamics, new tribe, like we said, new acquaintances, new lovers, new partners, new business partners. And then you have this like common ground, this beautiful foundation of sharing with each other, of being able to be as honest and open and giving with each other. It's amazing. Oh yeah. Your dreams are within reach. A wish is granted. That's your health, right? And that's a joyous environment. It's feeling healthy, feeling supported, feeling heard and seen by spirit and people. An exchanging of ideas from spirit into form. Oh, I love that. And that, yes. Get curious. That's freaking right. What's encouraging in your health? Like, that's what this brings in. Like this exchange and fellowship and companionship and brotherhood and sisterhood and movement and fun and play in your life is what I'm getting. The dreams are within reach. Get curious about what that is. Dream even bigger is what I just heard. Amazing. And your self-forgiveness oracle to close it off. You got a masculine energy. I forgive myself for pushing myself to accomplish even more when what I really needed was rest. And this is what this was here, right? This, like I talked about this period of this hiatus period, and you felt like you needed to do, but this is what this created, and this is what you've learned too, right? Beautiful. I choose to believe that rest allows for restoration and a renewed perspective with the potential to allow me to access the path of least resistance. Yes. And that least resistance is that why doubt, is the censoring, right? Of being the observer, of looking within the self, of coming back to the self, of tending to one's own fire. That's fucking awesome. Oh, my beautiful collective of pile 1, my candle light. That is your Feng Shui reading, your energies for the next couple of months, weeks, however this plays out for you. This was awesome. I'm sending you so much love. I hope that was useful, to be fair. I really hope that was useful. If it was, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm sending you so much love. Ciao. Welcome, my pal 2 that chose the beautiful rose. We're going to put him over here. All right, let's get your cards out. There's a ton of cards. It's going to be a long reading. So get whatever you need to get comfortable. Okay, my pal 2, let's get into your read. Your first position here is your fame, future, and career. promotion. Support others without limit. Nice. That's great for your fame, future, and career. I'm feeling a sense of naturally a promotion, an upgrade, an increase of some kind, an ability to be able to give because you have more now, whether that be energetically, whether that be just of your time, whether that be monetarily. Either way, there's a feeling of an increase so that you can give. I'm feeling a sense of confidence and comfortability within oneself. I'm getting a sense of surety in where you're heading. I'm feeling an allowance of going with the flow while still sort of, I guess the best analogy I can give, it's, I forget what they're called. Parasailing? Is that right? No, not parasailing. Maybe it's like kiteboarding, something like that. I can't remember. With the board and there's the kite up, and you have to sort of navigate with the wind. So you are going with the flow, but you have to be in that flow to find it. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but that's what I'm getting from this energy. It's sort of, it's like you're still steering the ship, so to speak, but you're gracefully and willingly at the mercy of the winds. Lovely. Okay. Then it says, alone time is needed. That's interesting. I wonder if when this influx or increase comes in your life, that there is an excess of energy naturally, or an excess of people either pulling at you or wanting your time. So I think there's just a reminder, because it's sort of like a contradiction. It's like support others without limit, but you have to be conscious of what that personal boundary is for you, that you don't over exceed the giving, that you don't have any to replenish with yourself. So I think they're just spirits reminding you to make sure that you set aside alone time if you find yourself being bombarded with things or feeling obliged to be somewhere, do something, give something because you can. Don't forget to give back to yourself without limit also. So you're included in all of this. Support others without limit. You are the other also. Okay, nice. Journey. I think you are. I think you're setting out on a new journey right now. I think it's like a new phase of whatever is coming into your life, meaning whatever this increases, influx, whether that's, again, this is fame, future, and career, right? So it's within that field is what I'm getting. So whatever influx that is, it's taking you on this journey, period, to something new, something that you want to go, something that's sort of unknown. Again, allowing yourself to go with the flow and allow the journey to lead you. So don't forget about this alone time. Your second position is relationships, marriage and or partnerships. Stand still. Be reserved in behavior. So obviously there's a possibility of there being a standstill when it comes to your romantic relationships, your relationships, marriage, or partnerships. There could be, there's a possibility that this journey that this is taking you on in your fame, career, and your future, that there's, like I said, an influx. So maybe there's an influx of new people in your life, and you're allowing this, like we said, allowing the journey to lead you, which brings you to a place of all this type of newness, right? And so maybe there is a need or a want for all of this newness. So maybe the relationships or friendships or partnerships that you had sort of need a timeout, need a break, need to pause. That's one scenario. Second could be that you just feel like there's this stagnancy in this area of your life. I'm actually, because it says be reserved in behavior, and I'm feeling like, I know what they mean by that, but I'm feeling like it's sort of stifling you instead of allowing you to be more expressive. It's like you have to sort of subdue who you are around certain people or person or whatever this case is for you, in whatever relationship, partnership, or marriage this talks to. It just feels like you haven't been able to fully be you, right? And maybe that's the expansion I'm feeling. Maybe that's the journey that I'm getting. Maybe there's a reason why this area of your life is at a standstill, for you to be able to explore something else. And that does not necessarily have to be somebody else if you're like in a, a fairly great relationship, and every relationship has their moments, right? So it's nothing bad, it's just situational. So take that however that resonates. Either it's talking about you reserving your behavior to sort of keep the peace, but again, or sort of it's making me feel like a repressed emotion of not being fully, I'm hearing the word allowed to be who you really are. Like your full you, not just parts of you. Interesting. My focus is elsewhere. That's what I'm feeling, like it's on this journey. Like my original, or my first instinct, or my first intuitive hit was that this journey is taking you somewhere, right? It's wanting something else for yourself, an influx of something, and whatever that is in your fame, career, and future. And that's what your focus is on. So maybe there's a reason that, your focus is on the career sector of your life, as opposed to the relationships and that romantic or partnership, marriage area of your life for the time being. So that's the very great possibility of why there is a standstill too. That's awesome. Okay, and then we have our sexual tarot. We have the Page of Cups. The Emperor. And the Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. In this deck, the Page of Cups talks about jealousy. The Emperor talks about an invitation, and the Wheel talks about change. So I'm getting, when it comes to your relationships, marriage, partnerships, there, again, because the focus being elsewhere, there is this possibility of jealousy among whatever that is within your friend group, within your romantic relationship, not necessarily on like a very obvious way, but it's like you can feel it underneath. And the Emperor is like, this is you. It's like you're invited. How do I put this? It's like the people who are there are inviting you to do things or something like that. This is just an example. Inviting you to do something, doing things with them, but then your interest, because you're trying to go on this journey, is leading you to do other things. Your focus is elsewhere. So you're like, I kind of want a little bit of a change. That's one example. If it has to do with a romantic relationship, it can be that you may be getting, again, this influx of admirers, or just attention in general. Like I said, this confidence boost up, this level up that may be making the person or people involved insecure about it. So they're sort of like trying to, pull you back. And that's sort of like that inviting sense of like I don't know, that's the energy that I'm getting. But you're still wanting this change. This is the point. The point is, your focus is elsewhere. So it doesn't, and it's in a very gracious way, in a selfish, in the most positive sense of the word. It's like, I need to put the focus back on myself, that alone time, and put it towards the things I need and want to develop and grow. It feels like this is like a matter of I need to more than, and it's like, it's not about you. Like, that's really what it is. Like, it's really not about you. That's what I mean. It's not selfish. It's just, I need to do this for myself. I need to do this. Interesting. Okay, so this is your creativity and or children. Harmonize, uphold virtuous ideals. Okay, lovely. So trying to find a compromise within your creative spaces and how you're working, and having, again, this alone time. Upholding, which is what we talked about, the focus and what you want to change and what you want to bring into your life. So this is why you're trying to uphold these virtuous ideas, so that you can accomplish the task that your journey is asking you to embark on. With that, this was the Wheel of Fortune, for you to step into that Emperor power, for you to allow yourself to not attach yourself to the jealousy that may be attaching to you. if this has to do with children specifically, I feel like there's a coming together or more harmony within your relationships or dynamics. There could be more of an understanding of each other is what I'm getting also. I also am getting a recognition of your child's development and being proud of how they're growing. That's lovely. Great. And then it says, discernment, manifesting wealth, 88, universal law of cause and effect, responsibility. That's right. So this is coming, it's making me come back to the balancing of the creative aspects of work, life, career, and your responsibilities at home, or in your family dynamic, or in your close-knit group of people around you. I feel like this is what you are doing. It's this, you're trying to create more wealth, like we said, this growth and abundance, everything we talked about in fame and career, with that promotion naturally. And universal law of cause and effect, obviously, with as they say, like when you have more, there still comes with more of it. There's more responsibility when you have more, in a sense, you know? So the responsibility of your children, the responsibility of your home, the responsibility of keeping your creative spark alive, of not burning the candle at both ends, of using your money properly, of discerning and where to put your time and effort, hence the harmonizing, upholding virtuous ideas, to not get lost too much in the journey of maybe it's not often, but it might feel to others a little self-indulgent. That's not your responsibility, but be mindful, again, of how you're using that time and making sure that everybody feels appreciated to the best of your ability without burning yourself out. Yeah, nice. It's anxieties in the reverse. So again, you're releasing the anxiety of this, or again, it feels like there's a little bit of attention there, but that's because of needing to juggle more, of needing to be a little bit maybe more organized, of maybe delegating things if things become, like we said, too overwhelming, that there's somebody there to be able to withhold those virtuous ideals if you're not actually fully present. And when it comes to your creativity, it's allowing yourself to let go of these anxieties, let go of the anxieties of the responsibilities in times, and again, reminding yourself of coming back to that flow. You know, to step into that also, because the universe wouldn't give you more than you can handle. It's a matter of how are you going to navigate, and they're bringing me to the squiggles, and I'm seeing like a pattern of that, you know, it's like, how do I get out of this? That's the imagery that they're giving me. So, and that's what you're doing, is finding that flow within this to harmonize whatever might be a contender when it comes to extra responsibility. Great. Okay, this is helpful people, friends, agents, colleagues, associates, and travel. Yes, and travel. Sorry, I didn't write that down. Moderation, reduce the excessive. Interesting. So when I was talking about over here that there's a possibility of you sort of disconnecting from certain environments, being invited places because your focus, like we said, is elsewhere on trying to, you know, cultivate this new beginning in a sense, or this new journey, or this promotion, is to use the momentum of this promotion, so to speak. And that, of course, includes new people, new energies. And there's something about this area that I do feel like there is not a separation, but a needing to sort of thin out the herd. It's a funny expression. Yeah, because there is a need for where the responsibility needs to be placed, you know, and I feel that within what frequency you're resonating on and moving towards, certain things need to sort of be released so that there's more space for what you are acquiring, you know, and that's where this moderation comes in, and that is in the helpful people, you know, that could help you moderate, and some of this responsibility like we talked about. It could be, like we said, in the friend dynamic, could be to sort of, you know, moderate your time specifically, or to really release some of the excessive, unnecessary relationships. I know that sounds really harsh, but there are some that people keep just because of loneliness, circumstance. There's no one else. There are excuses when there's not really a compatibility. You're sort of sacrificing, like we said, repressing who you are just so that you have somebody around. No disrespect, but it happens, and we've all been there. And then agents or associates, like same idea, like maybe who's really helping you, who's not helping you. Is this a beneficial thing for me to be paying into, not paying into? Should I be getting this? Finding where it is that you can sort of consolidate this area of your life. And then travel, it does feel like travel minimal. Do things at the most effective way. Efficiency is what I'm hearing. Okay, let's see where this goes. Yeah, nice. Let's create together. And this is, again, where your focus is. This is in your friends, family, like things are wanting to be, brought to you is what I'm getting. Like things are just being pulled to you. And you're going to want to create. This is where your energy is. It's about this newness. They are reminding you, though, just to moderate. It's, again, that reference to do not burn the candle at both ends. And it's coming back. They're bringing me to the flower now about you blossoming, and everybody's attracted to a beautiful blossom flower. You know what I mean? Even if you don't like them or not, they're just freaking pretty. So that's the point. There's this attraction to it is what I'm getting. So just be mindful of that and where you're using that creative energy and putting that focus. Moderate, reduce the excessive, harmonize, uphold the ideas. And maybe this is where the be reserved in your behavior really plays in. It's like, how am I really using my energy? I have to really focus on that. Maybe this is also why your alone time is much needed while this influx comes in. And then, expectation. I'm getting that there is an expectation from you more so than you from them. And I think as I'm feeling this woman looking out the window, you can see her, right? Yeah, looking out the window, I'm getting the same vibe of this journey over here. And if you're like looking at it in this angle, it's sort of like ready for this journey. This is you also, right? Looking out to that, it's a need to and a want to go. And the expectation of the others around you of let's create, this is pulling you back in, all of this beautifully wanted chaos, in other words, is what my point is, because it's all for the good. It's just a lot, it's just a lot of stuff to negotiate, to navigate, to organize. Again, into making people not feel that they're being neglected in a sense, you included. So they're just, again, reminding you to moderate, reduce the excessive, only do what you can, do not overexert. Find that alone time. Beautiful. Your self, identity, and image. 100%. Advancement. Accumulate small effects. That's you right now. This is exactly you. This is what you're doing. Like I said, you're just bringing things in. Like I was talking about, accumulating things to you, bringing that in. It's this beautiful advancement of your spirit, your soul. That's what you're journeying towards. The responsibility of self, the manifesting of what you desire, the creating with spirit and with others, really putting that focus back on you. Yeah, and it feels like there's, again, coming back to that confidence that we talked about in the very first one, right? This is your fame, future, and career. This is the promotion, and this is a self-identity. This is the advancement of the self, too, which brings, like we talked about, this confidence, this air about you. Look how gorgeous this one is. Look at her. Just beautifully elegant, divine, that beautiful phoenix, that fire energy, that self-worth, that knowing of what you offer. It's beautiful. It's a really nice self-recognition, partially because it feels like it was, not even partially, more specifically because it feels like it was earned. Like it wasn't just like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I know a promotion generally is earned, but I'm talking about it in the sense of spirit and self. It's like, I worked to get here. It's not something that was just necessarily like given to me as a gift. It's like I worked to get here and I fucking made it. And now it's this part of my process is allowing me to step into a new journey. That's dope. I dream about you all the time. And I feel like this is you. Like it's like a dream you've had to accomplish this thing, or to feel a certain way, or to be on this trajectory of this particular journey. It's like I said, it feels like something you have worked at. You have dreamt about this from time. And it may have looked differently before, but now it's almost like I'm getting a sense of stepping into oneself, like stepping into your own. That true type of confidence. The best, like small, depending on where you are in your own personal self-image beliefs, you know, there's certain periods of your life, or moments, let's even say, where you're like, woo, I feel different, or I feel good, you know, like that moment's not just about the dressing up and whatever, but there's moments where you're like, this was an awesome day or night, or this changed me, you know, like when you really fall in love for the first time, that real true type of love that changes you quite literally. So does getting your first real job, like something that you really wanted, like career job, not just a job to pay the bills, in other words, like a career job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I do both. That's my point. The point is, it's just that when you get something that you've worked towards so diligently, with so much effort, blood, sweat, and tears, and then you get it and you accomplish it, it's like, woo! Now I can go again. It's like it's a next level up. That's exactly what I'm feeling. It's a dream come true in a sense when it comes to being at this place within the self and within career, life. God, is your archetype. Light attributes. Benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. The shadow attributes, despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. So this is your reminder, right? Again, I feel like you're in this power. I feel, like I said, this level up. You're feeling your connection to Source and God. This is exactly what we talked about, a dream come true. You're benevolent and compassionate, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others and what you can accomplish. Why I bring up the shadow attributes is there could be a possibility with, depending on sometimes, you know, it could be just a matter of things being so good that you might lose sight in moments of where you came from, or how you got there, or your tone, or the stress gets to you that you end up being in the shadow aspects of the God nature, and that's using power to control people. You know, I'm getting this. They're showing me the reference of, what's that movie? It could be The Devil Wears Prada. That's just a fine example of like that assistant. You know, no, that's not the movie I was thinking of. With Dakota. Oh man, it'll come back to me. I'll say it. I'll write it down in the after. Either way, there's this part in the movie where she's a music. There's a musician, and she has an assistant, and she's a musician's assistant, the artist's assistant. But she really wants to produce music, and she's doing that on the side, and she thinks this artist is amazing, and she thinks all the people around her are doing her good, but they're not really showcasing the talent that this woman is. You know, anyways, and a whole bunch of stuff happens, and she just gets taken advantage of, even not being able to see the value of the person who's doing all this work for her, and the true love and appreciation she has for that artist. And then eventually, of course, the artist comes around and recognizes this, and all of that. Again, a dream come true again. So that's what they're bringing me to. It's just a reminder of the people who are around you and who are supporting you, who have been there for you. Don't get snappy with them, you know? All right, lovely. So for your next position, we have wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality. 2 of these cards came out for you guys, so I honored them. Penetrating influence, expand destiny. Beautiful. This is why this God energy is so important for you, to make sure that you stay in the light aspects of that, right? Of course, we all have our moments, don't get me wrong. They're just reminding you to come back to self. That alone time is going to help you stay grounded. Your responsibilities so that you can moderate will help you stay grounded, period. because of this penetrating influence, because of this promotion, this advancement, this accumulation, this influx, expanding the destiny on this journey, the manifesting of the wealth, the creation of things, the welcoming of this dream, it's amazing. And this being within your wisdom and knowledge and spirituality, it's what you are sharing. Like I said, being able to have more, to be able to share more, so that you can expand this even more, whether that comes to lineage, to or influence, or teachings, whatever the case is. It feels like there's just period and expansion in general for you, my beautiful Paltu. There's a full blossoming, perfect for your symbol or your marker that you picked. Holy moly. Build, save, receive. That is exactly what you're doing. And this is in your wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality. You are building knowledge. You are saving and accumulating all of this. And you're receiving it so that you can be able to share and give. Also coming back to this building of the wealth and the abundance, the discernment, the universal law of cause and effect and responsibility. This 8 abundance, this yin-yang energy too. Yeah, you are creating a legacy is what I'm getting. You're creating your own true foundation of what you want to produce, see, grow, share. Love that. Nice. Striving. Eventually, the individual's ego's drive to make things happen falls away, replaced with a relaxed, trusting openness to the answers as they arise. Thank you, Divine, for letting me move with the flow. What did we talk about over here? About that sailing thing that I couldn't think of. Can't think of things when I channel. It's so bizarre. Like, when I listen to these back, I'm like, Lotus. Like, the words come out so easy, but when you're in it, it's just different. Anyways, forgive me. So, anyways, as we were talking about going with the flow of that, navigating through that, it's your striving for this expansion of self, of growth. Again, they're reminding me, do not burn the candle at both ends. That is why alone time came out. That is why moderation came out. They keep yelling it at me, to be fair. Yeah, look, impatience. My life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. Yeah. So, patience. But I don't feel like it's an impatience that way. I feel like it's the excitement of wanting this journey to start was where this real impatience is coming in. Of wanting to be able to give even more because you're so excited for this journey. Like, I can feel it. It's beautiful. So many cards here. I'm sure it's a little messy. It's bothering me a little bit. It's fine. Okay, going on to your next position. It's family, community, and your neighbors. Fellowship. Recognize your fellow man. That's beautiful. Family, community, and neighbors. This beautiful white dragon too. Like, this is really nice. Like, it's a really good, like, full emotional areas of your life, like in all facets of relationships, work relationships, life relationship, personal relationships, home relationships, family relationships, all of it, and your neighbors and your community. There's this camaraderie. Like I said, you're moving into this new energy. I do feel like it's a new influx of people when it comes to like this fellowship, more so than just your friends that you have now or your immediate people around you. There's more coming in. I can feel that very strongly. And I feel like there's an appreciation and recognition, like we talked about, for you also, but for your people who sort of see life as you do, or play with life in a different way, or in a more whimsical way that, again, may allow you more freedom to be an unreserved version of yourself that has, like I was talking about earlier, that may have been slightly subdued, diluted, curbed, edited for surroundings, people, situations, things. There's a beautiful harmony, again, within this beautiful friendship, community, and neighbors. Family, I should say. Either way. Empathic spiritual awakening, 77 psychic gifts to serve your life purpose. family, community, and neighbors. They're like, again, this empathic, beautiful fellowship, like-minded people, soul tribe, going in the same flow of creating together, opening yourself up to universal law of cause and effect, hence responsibility, this manifesting this wealth of people, places, things. You know, number 8 and number 7 could be very significant for you during this time. Beautiful. And then, we have dignified strength. Yes, strength in numbers is what I heard. Strength in the belief systems too. There's a sense of respect and dignity within this new group or within this newfound confidence that sort of, again, invites people to just automatically revere you, not in a worshipy way, just in a I see you, you see me, and love and respect. You know, that's the vibe I'm getting. Your voice matters. Trust that you are what's needed here at this moment. You are in your element and at the right place at the right time. So you have an advantage, but it's up to you to make a choice and run with the ball. Same idea here, you know? This merging. We've talked all about this. This is amazing. Dodge the obstacles and look for the opportunities just beginning to emerge. Have faith in yourself. You have what it takes, even if you don't know it yet. It's up to you to tap into your potential and find the resources within. It may be tempting to take over. Yes, it's time for you to shine, but bring everyone along with you rather than dominate them, or you may be left high and dry once the game is over, which is what we talked about here, right? In the shadow aspects of the God energy archetype. This advancement's just to be mindful, to not get too snappy, to find that alone time. The gift, however, for weeks, months, or lifetimes, you have prepared for this moment. Like I said, something that you worked on, you built, you earned. The muscles you've built in your body and soul and the understanding you have acquired are needed here at this time and at this place. Family, friends, and community within the self. This is what we're talking about, this gaining to share. These new gifts to share. Oh, love when everything just comes together like butter. I love it. Okay, your 8th position is your wealth. Source. Encourage others with advice. Wow, they couldn't be any more perfect. They're just going along, right? We talked about this promotion, this accumulation, this wealth that's coming in, this spiritual wealth also that's also coming, that is also present. And your connection to source and divine, this God energy, you are encouraging others within your being. Meaning, like, you talk the talk, you live the you live the talk is what I'm trying to say. Your talk isn't cheap. You honor your words. I'm getting that old school sense of, you know, word is bond. When a word was just as binding as any written contract in today's world, where I don't feel like people honor that as much as they should. And if I'm truly honest, I don't feel like people really remember what they say. There's sometimes a little bit of roboticism within actions that they don't really listen. You know, so this is about you. Like you've done the work. This is why you're getting this enlightenment, this promotion, this advancement, this influx, this increase. Encourage others with advice that they can do the same, that you can acquire the same thing. It is not an easy travel. It's not an easy journey, but it's so motherfucking worth it when you get there. As I saw this card, Sunday brings in calm, I heard that Sunday should be your day of rest. You take that however that resonates, but I'm feeling there's a possibility that a Sunday, let's put it that way. I feel like this is fairly soon, like it's close, you know, if it hasn't already happened. A Sunday could bring in some of this calm or this information about this promotion or increase or advancement or opportunity in some way. It could be Sundays are a place of rest where you can sort of all of your like reconnect with yourself, regather, reorganize for the following days or weeks to come. You know, it's like, again, separate a day for you, and I feel like Sunday would be a good day for you to find that alone time, make your schedules, do your plans, whatever the case is, so that you have your You're set out, which is why you're trying to be more responsible, to moderate, so you know where things are being delegated, like we talked about. Find a day. And then we have Iwas. Beautiful. Which is movement. Movement, obscurity. This card speaks to us of inner strength and the effort we must undertake to achieve radical and painful changes, as well as defend ourselves against attacks. That strength again, doubly anchored, that third eye being opened, being privy and seeing that Pegasus flying, like there's just movement, through this journey. It's amazing. This card also speaks of our dark side. All of us have one, and recognize it is an important step to getting to the root of ourselves, coming back to that shadow energy, coming back to this dignified. It's just a reminder of, remember where you came from, stay grounded, stay humble. I know you can probably I'm like, this is not going to be me, this, my personality wouldn't change. You don't know. We really don't know. We say these things like, if you had a whole bunch of money, if you grew up in money without having maybe some of the struggles that you may have gone through, depending on what you are now, there's a different type of understanding and appreciation for money. Money may come really easily for you because you never had to worry about it. Where somebody who's had to think about, how am I eating the next week? That mindset of that lack mentality is a big struggle to overcome. So wherever you sit in that, just don't forget that just because the work has been done, that the progress is made, that the influx is coming, that you lose sight of how much work you put in, and that you sort of rest in your laurels is what I'm getting. It's just a reminder to come back. Alone time is needed. Find that strength within. Think about your ability to defend yourself from attacks of others. How much do you know about yourselves and your self-destructive tendencies? That's that source. Encourage yourself, encourage others to recognize who you are. This is the wealth of self. This is not to get greedy with stuff. Again, same thing. I won't keep reiterating that. I know you get my point. Iwas makes us strong, courageous, introspective, and helps us examine and overcome our deepest fears. And that is same thing when it comes to this wealth energy, right? This is beautiful. This is a really lovely progression of energies. And then your last position is your health. Assembling, guard against paranoia. I just heard of feeling the shoe's gonna drop, this is too good to be true. Interesting. So assembling, she was talking about all these regather, accumulating, things being brought to you. It's also pulling me back to the alone time again. This is the reason why, because of all of this energy, you need to replenish and regroup to come back to this calm center. All the work that you've done to get yourself here, do not forget about the practices you've already learned, the wisdom you've gained. To do not put them to the side because there's so much happening. Set aside that time. Guard against your paranoia of losing things or things, period. Doesn't matter if it's people, if it's money, if it's whatever the case. Release that fear, and again, find your center, meditate, come back and ground. I feel like if anything when it comes to health is watch your thoughts. Watch the chatter, watch the overthinking, watch the over self-diagnosing, self-medicating. Okay. Inner wisdom and intuition, 44. Archangels work with them. That's it with your health. In inner wisdom, trust that wisdom. Holy, there's very rare that these come out together, and you have 8, 7, and 4s. So that's very significant. You have a lot of spiritual help here. There's a lot of influence here. This is what they're saying, this is a thing right now. This is a really big new step in this journey. Do not get lost in the waves. Do not get lost in the wind. Stay grounded. Trust yourself. Get out of the head and into the heart. Work with us when you feel that you are getting paranoid. Call on your angels, call on your ancestors, call on whomever or whatever it is that you pray to. Or talk to, for that matter, if you don't like that word. Or affirm to, set your intentions towards, manifest, doesn't matter. Whatever that is, to the universe. Talk to them. They'll be there to help you and give you answers once you allow yourself to ground and trust in that inner wisdom. You will hear them. Don't forget to play. Play makes a happy heart, that is for sure. Happy soul, happy heart, happy life. Do some playthings. Whatever that plaything is for you. Games, rest, baths, movies, art, dancing, music, anything creative that is not just based on your work. Just make sure that you do that, you know. Find some time to go out for dinner, go for a walk. Appreciate the changing of the seasons if you have that. You know, breathe in that crisp air or that hot, steamy air, or the changing of, or the falling of the leaves, or wherever you're watching this. Love that. Okay, and your last card to close it off, your self-forgiveness oracle. I forgive myself for shaming myself for my divine, animalistic desire to ensure my survival. Woo, and this is probably where this is going to come in right here. You know, that standstill, my focus is elsewhere, that pulling you back in, that jealousy, the need and want for change, the promotion, the influx, for shaming yourself. And that might be where this paranoia comes into for your divine animalistic desire to ensure your survival, right? This abundance, this manifesting wealth. Damn. Forgive yourself, baby. They just said it. Call on them. I choose to believe that when I have compassion for how I behave, when I feel threatened, I cultivate the self-awareness required to live more authentically. And they talked about that, right? Talking about addressing your darkest fears. That when I have compassion for how you behave and when I feel threatened, that might be where the shadow aspects of the God aspect comes out, the God archetype comes out. You know, you cultivate self-awareness, which is this wisdom that you've built, saved, received, gathered. You know, that strength, that fellowship, that spiritual awakening, the source energy. You cultivate the self-awareness required to live more authentically in who you are, what you want to become, and who you are becoming. Ooh, that was so good. I know it was long. I hope you stuck around to the end. If it was helpful in any way, please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sending you so much love. Ciao. Welcome, my pile 3, who picked the binoculars. I'm gonna put them right there. Ooh, sorry for that. Okay, this is gonna be a long reading, my beautifuls. So get what you need, a cup of squat, and they're gonna lay out your cards. Okay, let's get into your spread. Your first position is your fame, future, and career. Zenith, arbitrate in disputes. Beautiful. I'm getting you reaching a peak in some facet of your fame, future, and career. I'm getting a very just, sound decision and voice, a voice of reason, a voice of compassion. I'm hearing a sense of authority you've either acquired or will be acquiring. I'm getting a sense of abundance and financial opportunities. I'm also hearing like legal systems or judicial systems. I'm hearing a great mediator, in between contact. It's like the peacekeeper in a sense. That's interesting. In my elementary school, they're bringing me back to this. We used to have recess mentors. And if anybody was like being bullied or we saw something that wasn't right or should have been fixed, we were assigned, I think it was from 6th grade on, is when you got that responsibility. And that's what it's reminding me of. And we used to call ourselves the peacemakers. Like that's what we used to we are the peacemakers. It doesn't make keepers, it was the peacemakers. Like that's what we used to take that ego, that teenage ego. Gotta love it, right? But that's what it was. We made peace. It wasn't like we kept the peace because there wasn't peace, in those situations. That was our logic, right? So we were the peacemakers, and that's what I'm really feeling from this. What a strange memory to bring up. Just brought me back to that. That was a long time ago, my friends. Beautiful. Okay. Then we have surrender. I'm getting a sense of surrender to your role. It's almost like a feeling of sort of being put in the role, not necessarily seeking the role. They're bringing me back to Dune, the newest version of Dune. I'm probably butchering this line, but it's between the son and the father, close to the beginning, before they're supposed to leave to go to the other planet. Not going to give anything away. So they were talking about the son not being sure that he's ready to lead or that he can lead. And then the father being like, I didn't want this responsibility either. I wanted to be a pilot. And then he says that most leaders don't want to be leaders. It's put upon them, and how you choose to act in those matters, which is what I think it's happened. It's sort of like you've been placed in this position, and Spirit is asking you to surrender to what this responsibility or privilege entails, and why you in particular are given that responsibility, because you are deserving, because you have shown and proven that you are of sound judgment, of rational thinking, of compassion and consideration, of loyalty, of wisdom, of truth. So there's an ask of you to surrender to that role, to be frank. That's what I'm getting the most strongly. What did I say about judication and law, right? How funny. And judication talks about a decision, right? It's like the final decision. It's already been made. Like the cases have already been presented, and now it's like this is the role. If we're going to look at it on maybe a not so pleasant side, it can be that there is a ruling in your favor is what I'm getting. I'm getting a ruling in your favor about something that may have happened when it comes to fame and career. Maybe you lost your job unjustly, or maybe you were let go for the reasons that are possibly happening around the world if you're watching this in real time. Maybe there was other work legalities that were happening. It doesn't, whatever case this is, that can also be that as just surrender to whatever decision has been made and knowing that it's for your highest good, whatever that is. I am feeling positive, but if it does not end up being as positive as you would like, I feel like you won't see the positivity or the full length of that positivity until a certain amount of time has passed. So surrender. So this is your relationships, marriage, and partnerships, or partnerships. Deterioration. Be generous to those below. Maybe it has to do with a breakup, a split, a divorce. Maybe there is just a breaking down of this area of your life when it comes to relationships, marriage, partnerships. Maybe it's a recognition of where certain people, you or the people involved, have been fairly selfish, or haven't been able to see the other side, which is why there's that need for that mediator. That there's a lot there, but the strongest I'm getting, honestly, is about like a divorce, a separation, a disagreement, a separating and parting of ways between you and another person, doesn't matter, but there is something that is crumbled. It is no longer functioning as it once did, even though before it was not as functional as it should have been. Interesting. Okay. Act now. I feel like this is what's happening now. This is this is the recognition of what needs to go when it comes to relationships, marriage, partnerships, etc. I'm also getting an act now before more things crumble than they need to. If you sort of it's like a preventative measure of something worse. In other words, You know, it's almost like nipping it in the butt right now, as opposed to letting it linger and fester, and then it becomes a bigger thing that didn't need to be that big a thing if you allow yourself to act promptly. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see your sexual tarot, what this adds. The Fool. Page of Wands. And Four of Pentacles. So the Fool in this deck talks about a burst of energy. The Page of Wands talks about abandonment, like self-abandon, like just releasing inhibition in a sense. And the Four of Pentacles talks about pleasure. I'm getting like this literal, like this act now, that's that burst of energy for this abandoning of one's previous self, previous connections, previous relationships, to find something that is more pleasurable, more harmonious, more sensual, gooey, and sexy, you know? If it's not necessarily when it comes to romantic relationships, it's just partnerships and relationship dynamics in general. Same idea, this burst of energy that's wanting to abandon the old way of doing things, approaching things, to find more harmony and pleasure and compatibility within the dynamic or the situation. Then we're going into creativity and or children. Grace, set goals in small matters only. So they're saying to me to try not to plan too far ahead when it comes to your action steps is what I'm getting. It's almost like, for just a plain example, if you're normally a person who likes to set like 5-year plans or 5-year goals, it's like you need to do it for a year. I actually feel like it's way less than that, if I'm honest. Like it feels like 3-month spans, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of fluctuations within this time for you. And if you try to get too rigid within your planning or your routine, I would even say that you might end up feeling overwhelmed that you can't get things done, which puts you in sort of like this funk, and they don't want you to be there. Like they want you to be in this surrender of this new possibility and new momentum that's coming in for you. So sort of keep it open, keep it light. Don't overfull your schedule or bombard yourself with too many things. Like only tackle what you can each day. I really want to say take it day by day. That's what I really want to say. If you were to plan, I would say plan 2 weeks at a time. 3 weeks, a month at the most, depending on how your brain wants to function, or what will make you feel safe enough, you know, to allow yourself to surrender a little bit. Then we have tap out. Yeah, you know, tap out of this, that energy. This is what you're wanting, like this abandonment, same idea. If this does have to do with children, it's also again about making sure that there's like little things to be done. Knowing when you need to tap out of whatever energy that's happening in your life and tap into who or what is around you, to making sure that you stay present and focused. Yeah, I'm getting like more paying attention to the child or to your kid, as opposed to them just being around. I hope that's not insulting, but it does happen, you know, like put them in front of a TV, no disrespect, because you still have stuff to do. You know, that's what it is. It doesn't mean that you can't do that for a little bit, but make sure that you find that moment to tap out and engage with the people and things around you. And then we have hunger. Yeah, hunger for something different, which is that creative aspect that we were talking about. The hunger for the attention, the drive, the hunger for the change. So these small goals will be more, the hunger of these goals will be more satiated if you set them smaller. If you make them a little bit more close together, if it's just more daily tasks right now as opposed to bigger goals, is what I'm getting. whether that is in just creativity or with children. Okay, then we're going into helpful people, friends, agents, associates, colleagues, and travel. Abyss, function as an educator. Ooh, I love that. I feel like you're going to be like this beautiful shining example of how to do this difficulty right. It's almost like if this has to do with a separation or a divorce or parting of ways or breaking apart in somehow, the way that you go about it, meaning how you're observed, is this elegance and realist and present, and conscious person and ability to move and navigate within the difficulties and not allowing, like we said, to let this overtake you, let this alter your personality in a negative sense that doesn't allow you to learn from the experience almost in the moment that it's happening. And I feel like there's a possibility that you've already been in this abyss or this void for a while, which is making it seem like it's just a matter of you moving through it gracefully, but I feel like you've already been through the harder part of it. It's like we said, just now it's the finalization of things. Is you now functioning as an educator for yourself and an educator for like what doesn't work, what are the problems here, like this is not conducive for a healthy environment or evolution and growing in one's spirit, soul. There's no consistency of happiness, and joy within the self, therefore creating that within the environment. I'm getting this sort of a nomad vibe also. There might be this need now because of the surrender and acting now to sort of travel, since universe willing and society willing that we will be able to travel more freely as freely or more freely than we did before. Function as that educator, maybe going across platforms or speaking and preaching this. There's an education that has come from what you have been through, a wisdom that you have gained that is now being integrated, that is now being able to, you're comfortable enough or healed enough from the heaviest impact of the situation that you're now able to speak about it with clarity now, with the emotions put to the side but observed instead of only trying to manage, Interesting. Choose you, and I think that's exactly what you're doing, my friend. You are choosing you. This is why all this is happening. This is why all this movement, this change, this choice to act, this deterioration, this setting goals small, one step, one day at a time. And then we have wealthy man. Interesting. Okay, so one thing that just popped into me was like, if this has to do with the separation, I feel like this is on your voyages or your travels or your mini expeditions, whatever they are, you naturally choosing you to go and do this. And I feel like you may meet a wealthy man or somebody that has a lot to offer or abundantly attractive to you in some way. And spirit is still, it's almost like it's not like a test. It's sort of like there's something here to offer you, but I'm honestly getting that you are going to still choose you because you still need this alone time. You still need this tap out energy, to satiate your own personal hungers first before you engage or come back or connect with another person in the same way or in a similar way that you don't want, because obviously it didn't work out in some way if what I'm picking up on resonates with you when it comes to the separation of a particular person. This wealthy man also can just talk about like a friend, a colleague, an agent, an associate, that will help you within you choosing you, sort of is going to support you and benefit, is going to support you and be maybe some type of benefactor, maybe not necessarily in a full, in any monetary way per se, but it could just be somebody there you can talk to or banter ideas off of, or a new friend or a connection or a reconnection for that matter. But the point is that you're choosing you now, and I feel like this is going to bring in the right people now for you, however you choose to use this wealthy man, not in a bad sense. Okay, now we're going into self-identity and image. continuing, standing firm. Yeah, standing firm in what you've chosen and the decisions that have been made, the actions that you've taken, the goals that you've set, the wisdom that you've gained, the choices, like we said, that you have made for yourself. You're continuing to stand firm in that decision, in your convictions. Again, arbitrating truth. You're at that peak of knowing yourself. If there ever is a peak of knowing oneself. It's a good question. Oh man, wow. I'm loving how all of this is happening today. The choice has always been yours. And this is what I think you're coming to terms with. Not even to terms with. This is what you've already come to terms with. Like, the choice has always been yours. This is why you're choosing you. This is why you're surrendering. This is why you're acting now. You're like, what was I doing here? Or why was I just settling for something? Or why was I allowing this to deteriorate? Even if it is about, mending something, I'm not feeling that very strongly. I'm really feeling like it's time to let go of something. And it's not you even holding on. It's just a matter of this is the end of that cycle. It's natural progression to finish, in a sense, or transmute, or evolve, or move away, or move towards something else. So you are affirming your identity. This is what we're saying, what they're saying. Amazing. And then we have Prince, lovely. Light attributes, romantic charm, and potential for power. Beautiful. That's exactly what you're stepping into, which is why this person or these energies are going to be attracted to you. They just said that there's going to be a hunger for you. Yeah, but coming back to that pleasure, right? That burst of sexual or just energetic impulse. Shadow attributes to be mindful of. Using power for self-aggrandizement. Forgive my pronunciation. I don't think that you're going to be in this Prince shadow attributes anyways, but it's just a reminder to sort of keep your ego in check. In a sense of the feeling or coming across as entitled, in a sense, meaning like you're too good for this because you're trying to choose you, that it might come across like a little, you're too good for your bridges, you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of vibe. This is what I'm getting. If you do and find yourself in that shadow attributes or aspect of the archetype, remind yourself to continue to stand firm in what this choice was and why you chose it, and what the goal is, right? Is to find this peace within self, this joy again, this spark for life, and to recognize that you already know this, like this charm that you have, but I feel like it sort of was lost for a bit, or I think you weren't able to access it for some reason because the dynamic might not have been so healthy for you or open enough for you to be able to utilize that skill anymore. Like there's no romance or something. Like, that's what I'm sort of getting. And now it's like you're able to be, all those flirty, sexy, feminine or masculine attributes that you used to flirt, that is just, it's coming out of you naturally again because you're surrendering, surrendering to your own personal hungers. That's awesome. It's just shining off of you. So they're just reminding you to keep the ego in check every once in a while and just remind yourself of, be grateful for all of these beautiful energies, because it's a testament and attunement to yourself of you checking into being like, I'm on the right path of creating this type of energy and connection that I really want when I'm ready to get it to emerge again, or to connect in that way again. Now we're going into your wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality. Conscientiousness. Conduct with respect. Conduct with respect. Conduct with respect. And this is what we're talking about, right? The conscientiousness about not being in this shadow is to respect what you've accomplished, what you're learning, the wisdom you've gained, the recognition, of yourself, the power that you hold within your choices, within your actions, the allowing of oneself to fully emerge clear, like we talked about, this clear understanding of educating others and oneself, of being respectful of oneself and honoring what one needs in general. There's a great Empress, High Priestess vibe I'm getting from this beautiful energy here. That cherry blossoms, that has a specific time of season. This elegance and motherliness is what I'm getting. It's like an overseer that is, again, back to this arbitrates, the zenith. It's like reaching this pinnacle of your feminine archetype almost. That's a better way to say it. It's like a certain level of that, of whatever lesson you're on, you're at the peak of that lesson when it comes to the feminine energies is what I'm getting for this collective, regardless of your actual gender or identity. This is so good. You do not leave insanity by going somewhere else. You leave it simply by accepting reason where there was madness. And this is this conscientiousness. This is what you've already understood. This is... we got cut off. I'm so sorry. This is why you are leaving this, right? Do not leave insanity by going elsewhere. You didn't. You reasoned with it. You were conscientious of it. You made a decision. This is the reason why, or the decision was made. This is why things needed to surrender, why you needed to surrender to the reality of what was, the deterioration of whatever is happening in this part of your life. Why the choice has always been yours to choose and to notice and recognize your own power, that hunger and that satiety, that hunger that was not satisfied. You accepted reason where there was madness. This is the conscientiousness of your spirit. This is what you have gained, wisdom, knowledge, your spirituality. This is what you've learned. This is why you can teach it. This is why you can speak about it. Because you're now coming from a place of reason, no longer insanity. You chose to leave that. Good for you. Fucking A. Oh, fuck yeah. Gotta love this shit. Fucking empowerment. Look at this. When you ask the divine to take over, you get pulled into your own authentic power. Yes. It's a force of inner love that wants your It's a force of inner love that wants your wholeness and magnificence. Unfold my true and radiant self, dear Lord. That is what you're freaking doing. Yes, you are. I'm so happy about this for you. I'm boosted up right now. Holy, it's so good. That wisdom you've gained is the empowerment of self. Like we talked about, the reason within self and within your situation. The madness you've overcome, the choices you've made to finally, again, find your own creative, charming, potential, charismatic self. It's a reclaiming of that energy. Woo, you took it back. I love that. This here is your family, community, and neighbors. 2 of these cards came out, so I honored them. Benefit. Imitate benevolent action. I think they're just reminding you to, not that you really need it, just to be kind to the people who are probably going to stick by you during this separation, It's, even if, because it says imitate benevolent action, right? And imitation for me is not always truthful, for me personally. So I feel like there's sort of like a sense of needing to sort of keep the peace and only speaking what is necessary. Don't give out more information than needed for people to fuel the fire in another way to make you out to be the bad guy in some way. But I'm also getting that there could be a possibility of people imitating how much they care for you, which is sort of trying to get shit out of you. I've never happened this feeling before with this card, so take that if that resonates. But the benefit, however, is that if you choose to sort of, approach it from the higher ground, right? That judicial stance, that abyss section, that conscientiousness, that the alleviation of the insanity. It's sort of like, well, if I can see this from a higher perspective and above what's the actions that are being presented towards me, I can pretend like I don't see what's happening. Not to say that I don't see it. I can just be civil, and I'm like, it's almost those moments where you can giggle at somebody who's lying to you point blank in your face, and you know the truth, and they have no idea you know the truth, and they are trying to be so convincing. That's the feeling that I'm getting with this. And I've had that happen many a times. or somebody who's trying to sort of save their ass in a sense, or you know, yeah, literally save their ass in a sense, or don't want to be as truthful, or they think what you say is going to hurt your feelings, or it will hurt their feelings because it was a deliberate attack on your character or something like that. I feel like you already know, and it's like, this person is straight up motherfucking lying to my face, and they think I don't know. I'm just going to giggle and be like, nice, okay. That's exactly what I'm getting. Sugar sweetness, just kill them with kindness. That's what I'm getting. Whew. Okay. This connection is undeniable. Friends, family, and neighbors. I feel like you're gonna know who it is, though. Like, this is, I think that's why they gave me the example of somebody, you know, lying straight to your face and you knowing the truth. It's like, this connection is undeniable. Like, I know you that well, my friend. Like, if you actually think that you can lie to me, or you think you know me better than I know myself, I don't know why I'm getting that for this. It's so weird. Because I made this as my deck, and that was not my intention when I channeled this message. It's still making me feel uneasy. Like, I'm trying to still connect it to the way that I had intended the card to be, and it's still the same. It's like, there is something that you know about at least one of your connections when it comes to friends, family, community, neighbors, whatever the case is. I feel like it's more friends and neighbors, or your community, you know, like, in that sense. There's one person in particular that I feel like you have a sort of like a telepathic or empathic connection to them. I think more than that person actually realizes. And because of that, because you've gained all this wisdom, right, and your knowledge of understanding, you being able to see from a higher perspective, and you knowing yourself more, like we talked about, getting to the pinnacle of that feminine archetype within yourself, of that receptive observer, you know, this is this part. It's like, I know who you are and what this is, and this can either be you're lying to me to try to, you know, make me feel better, you know, sort of just like, not, let's say for example, this has to do with you splitting up, and you're let's say you find out after, even though this is your choice, like your partner had already been cheating for like 3 months, you know what I mean? It's something like that, where this person might be trying to lie to you just to, like, who cares, like, it's already done, like, forget it. And also the examples I gave before. So there's a plethora of situations that could apply, or how this could apply. So you take that. This is probably why 2 cards came out for you here. Progressions, journey. Yeah, I do think that there is cycles within this, you know, about this give and take of information or gossip or chatter. And I feel like this is sort of like the last attempt to sort of keep you, I don't know, either feeling sorry for yourself or something along those lines. This is interesting. And change. Yeah, it's trying to keep you somewhere. Uranus, change. And that might be keeping you in your old way of thinking, of why you may have stuck around for so long, you know, and realizing that the choice has always been mine to leave. Why didn't I do it sooner? Not that there's any, like, guilt or shame around that. It's just a matter of, like, they might be able to pull that back to you. Like, pull on your energy. Interesting. Sorry, I just got distracted. There is a random fly in my place that's so tiny, and it's winter in where I'm at, and no windows are open. Like, just showed up. I got no stagnant food either, so, like, or water. Like, weird. Anyway, well, that's for you. That's somebody's spirit for you guys, because that, for sure, it could be one of mine, but I definitely think it's for one of you. And it's about this change and this progress, and the way that the fly was going was, anyways. Wow, let's get back on track, Lotus. Here we go. So they might be able to pull you, like I said, distract you, just exactly like that fly, to distract you from what your actual goal is and what you're talking about. You know? Interesting. Progressions do not speak of a passing thing, but to the big sweeping arcs of karmic fate, to your soul's journey. So this might be why they're asking you to set smaller goals, like we talked about, because there's going to be so much fluctuations, and maybe you still need to anchor in this full choice, you know, like I know that you made it, but again, emotionally, this separations are never easy, even if it's your choice or not, it doesn't matter, they're not easy. So there could still be this tendency to have a really soft, a trigger point or a soft point from somebody who knows you really well, that sort of knows how to like sort of pull on your heartstrings and pull you back in. That could be a possibility there. Your present situation may not make sense in the short term because it has more to do with the big karmic patterns and how those intersect with the karmic patterns of the world's progress, and less to do with our daily existence. The situation may feel fated, but the outcome is not predestined. Though you may feel uncomfortable, you always have a choice about how you respond and where you go. The challenge. This is not a small obstacle or opportunity. This is a part of a complex pattern. Every choice you make changes how it unfolds. Look at this. Choice, 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 choice. Choose you. The choice has always been yours. Surrender, you know, this is, they're screaming at you. The gift, trust the tides and set your own sails. Pile 2 might have some information in there for you. I did talk about similar metaphors that just came up in this description. And as again, this is, like I said, my deck. And I only have, I think, maybe 3 choose cards, roughly. Choose you, the choice has always been yours, and something else, like take a step, the choice, it's up to you. Something like that. There's always a choice. I mean, there's only 3 choice cards. And it's so interesting that you've gotten 2 out of them, and my deck is like 108 cards. It's nuts. Anyways, nuts. So this is what I'm getting for that, you know, that progress, that journey. This is about a bigger thing, and that's why Spirit is really asking you to set small goals, because you don't know the shifts that are about to happen. Don't get too stuck on anything. And of course, Uranus, that brings in the change. Surprise or be surprised, you know, be ready to shift gears. It's time to experiment and try a fresh approach on a new road entirely. That's exactly what you're on. You're venturing off. You know, you left that madness, like we said. Urgent anxieties can be a symptom of Uranian restlessness, so rather than just flailing about, look for the root cause and ask what change would actually solve the problem. It also encourages technical upgrades and cutting-edge approaches, whether that means acquiring new equipment or new skills. Challenge. Uranus electrifies. Like we talked about, that energetic burst, right? That fool, that act now. It may feel like your finger is stuck in an electric socket. You are anxious to change, but you can spin your wheels until you shift into gear, and you've shifted. And this is what I'm saying, Spirit doesn't want you to get pulled back. Like I said, this cycle, right, of being, like you said, spinning the wheels instead of making any traction and moving forward. The gift, however, prepare for an evolutionary leap. Perhaps. Shocking circumstances can force you to engage gifts you didn't know you had and help you transform. You are not those external attributes in transformation. You will not dissolve. A caterpillar is still internally the same creature once it becomes a butterfly. And that is what you are surrendering to, is becoming this beautiful butterfly, this ascended female archetype within yourself. I love that. Going into your wealth. Collective force. Be generous to people. You know, this is what you're bringing back, right? I was talking about that charm and that charisma and that potential, right? And that collective energy of this newfound, like we said, this influx of the right type of energies coming into your life. And you being able to disconnect or understand when people are trying to pull you back because they sort of want to keep you stuck, even though it may not be in a very selfish way, but just in a very insecure and codependent way. So your wealth here is about your wealth of knowledge. This is what I'm getting the most here, is to be generous people with your wealth of knowledge, with your experience, your expertise, with, you know, how to navigate within the chaos. How to stay aligned when things are frickin' bonkers around you. How to trust your own knowing. How to choose you. Lovely. Close your eyes and feel. Look at this. Look at his eyes. Close your eyes and feel. You feel me? Look at this. They're so beautiful. Look at that. Just feel your way through this. You'll know who's the right people or places or things to give to. When your energy is being received well, when you're being filled back up also. It's just feel everything out. Move with the tides, the ebb and flow of this change on this journey. I love that. Holy wow, especially for wealth. Othilla. This is possessions. Possessions gained also. And that could be like the settlement that may happen because of this separation or settlement in general, whatever this judication is actually about. Blood ties, however problematic or intolerable, are still important and implicate us for our lives. Exactly. This is familial blood ties like we talked about here. So you take this how this resonates for your situation. It is essential to recognize their value and realize that we are the result of our past, and we must start from our roots to develop our heritage that is rich and plentiful. Do you respect your ancestors and their traditions? Which ties do you find difficult to abandon, and which ones, on the other hand, would it be wise to rediscover? Othilla anchors us to our identity, reinforces blood ties, and bestows well-being. Interesting. And maybe there is this coming back to the being present, right? And setting goals with small matters of knowing when to tap out, when to stop doing the work, and be conscious of the people and things around you. That collective force, of that, be generous to people with your time, feel the energy. And if there is a sort of settlement of like balancing where this is, make it equal, make it balanced, make it fair. And that's again coming right back to that zenith. That's exactly what that arbitrator does. And what you've surrendered to, that knowing and trusting that all will work out as it's supposed to be. Well, if you maintain your integrity and remember why you went on this venture, to choose you, to leave that madness, to create that joy. Don't get stuck in the shadow attributes of the prince. Allow that empowerment to shine, being that conscientious, beautiful being that you are. Amazing. Let's go into your last one. Thank you for sticking around. 9, this is your health. I just heard natural remedies. Natural response. Use your moral excellence. That's right back to that arbitrates and disputes, That natural response and this beautiful lotuses. Yeah, Lotus. Natural response. Close your eyes and feel. Energetically connect to your roots, to your grounding, to your roots. Could be your actual roots. It's about finding the peace within. Again, about this, a little bit of that chaos, but it's like this, the more of the analogy of the lotus for you guys, as opposed to, I think in Pal 1 it was about like wind and tornado-ish energies, right? And yours is more about like that rooting out of the muck and the gunk, coming out as this beautiful frickin' flower that the lotus is. Hence my name. It's that's part of my life lesson, part of what I grew up in, so to speak, is feeling like that's what it felt like for me, is coming out of this mud emerged something else than what I started from, or where I came from, or what I was connected to in some way. I had that moral responsibility within myself from a very young age, and I had no idea where that came from. So allowing yourself to tap into that moral excellence, that again, that integrity, that function as that educator, that conscientious thoughts, your benevolent actions, your generosity of spirit of time, and the grace of your actions. Time to go out and play. It's it, playtime. That's what's gonna help benefit you. Get some fun. Go have some fun. Enjoy yourself. Exactly what all this is. Use that charm and charisma. Penetrate those souls. And then reflect, coming back to that reflection of what the roots are, that root causes of things. That's what this does. It allows you to be like, oh my gosh. And coming back to this charm and charisma, how was I subduing myself for so long? I can't believe that I kept hidden in this murky water for so long. I didn't play with myself. Like I said, there was no romance. There was no, even with self, there was nothing exciting happening, which is this burst of wanting this hunger, to play. Love it. Okay, my gorgeous pile 3. This is your last card from the Self-Forgiveness Oracle. Feminine energy. Speaking of, I forgive myself for looking to others for direction as to where I should go next. And I think you have forgiven yourself for that. And I think you are, again, maybe this is a part of that pull. You know, the choice has always been yours. Choose you. Playtime. Reflect on that. Forgive yourself for thinking that you may not have had that power in the past to make this change that you're actually either going to undergo, already undergoing, or it's already been in the works in your brain, regardless. But it's happening. I choose to believe that my path is uniquely paved and I can find my way through active self-reflection and deep self-connection. Like self-reflection twice. Like it's about like what part of you that was stifled, that was stuck in this, whatever this is that you have now surrendered. You have surrendered. I know this is fame, future, and career, right? But you have surrendered to this. You're acting now, releasing what needs to release, satisfying the hunger, tapping out when you need to, choosing you, believing that the choice has always been yours, finding that empowerment and confidence, leaving the insanity, allowing the progress and the change to help you push you forward, to recognize where there's people who are pulling on your heartstrings to sort of keep you stuck, recognizing the patterns, addressing what those root causes are that have made you be that way, say that way, think that way, closing your eyes to feel, to meditate, to connect with the self, to emerge out of this mud, out of this muck, to play with the self and to reflect on how far you've come. Oh my gosh, so long. I hope you stuck around to the end. I had so much fun doing this. I hope this was helpful, and I hope it gave you some guidance or some confidence to know that you are on the right path. I'm sending you so much love. Please like and subscribe if this was helpful. Till next time, lovelies. Ciao.